Before the torrential rains and floods caused by Typhoon Doksuri subside, Typhoon Khanun has made a sharp 90-degree turn and is expected to enter China. Will this aggravate the disastrous situation in China? The Chinese media reported that the sixth typhoon of the year, Khanun, had been wandering around in the sea for more than 10 days since it was generated. Originally, it was heading straight for the coasts of China's Zhejiang and Fujian provinces, but it made a weird turn in the sea and headed towards the coasts of Japan. But now, Khanun changed its mind again. China's Central Weather Bureau forecasts that Typhoon Khanun will enter China on August 12th, with heavy or torrential rain in the northeastern region. Some cities in Heilongjiang province, which were ravaged by Typhoon Doksuri, are on high alert. From August 10th to 12th, they will suspend schools, work, production, transportation, and business. Typhoon Khanun suddenly made a sharp 90-degree turn. Its strange move has made people wonder. Northern China is already suffering terribly right now. As a result of the attack of Typhoon Doksuri, not only Beijing and Hebei suffered severely, the situation in the northeast is also disastrous. With countless people and animals being drowned, the victims rendered homeless, houses collapsed, and farmland washed away. The economic loss is huge. The gruesome scene is comparable to an apocalyptic drama. Zhuozhou County in Hebei Province has been badly affected and has become a flood relief zone for several reservoirs and riverbanks in order to protect Beijing and the Chang'an New Area. Officials say it may take a month for water in Zhuozhou to fully recede. But now, more flood discharge is to follow. After the disaster lasted a week, Hebei's armed police force is set out to take over the local rescue in full, and civilian rescue teams have been asked to leave. Why is this? During the flooding period, those who survived relied mainly on the rescue and help from civilians. I'm going back to the villages. The villages to the east of Zhuozhou and the villages to the north are basically wiped out. They're all flooded. There are a lot of stranded people. If there are more rescue teams arriving, check out Gaoguangzhuang first. Where Gaoguangzhuang and the pier is, too many people are stranded. Don't believe the videos made by some TV stations or pirated videos. They claim that the government arranged the rescue, but they didn't arrange anything. Civilian rescue teams from out of town have said they wouldn't go even if the government invited them, because they wouldn't have the time to pose with them. In 3 days, I saw several PLA soldiers, and the rest were rescue clubs organized by the peasants themselves, civil rescue groups, and teams. Last night, I swiped through Douyin and found a plea for help and a request to donate some toilet paper. Don't donate toilet paper. Save lives first. There was so much water, so let him wash himself. I went back to my village and there were many people there, all protecting the dike from being dug up by the government. The volunteer rescuers who dared to get into their kayaks and go into the deep water to save people were all our peasants. No matter where they came from, all the people from all over the country were peasants. There are no celebrities, no big names, no righteous journalists who we look up to. It's all peasants. The internet signals are about to be blocked here. I'm telling you, Xitang is about to go under. The water right now, at this moment, is so high. I'm sending out an emergency call for help. The water is coming in from all around, and it's already converged into one. Fans who have a motorboat or a boat, quickly let me know. There are still a lot of villagers who haven't got out yet. The depth of the water on the edge of the village is now more than 2 meters. No matter what kind of vehicle, it's impossible to enter the village. Whoever has a motorboat, let's help the people. I've been staying on. I haven't left. I recommend that a military unit be dispatched to Zhuozhou, Hebei Province, as soon as possible, and the sooner the better. Now Zhuozhou is in a state of crisis. It's flooded, and the people are basically standing on the windows. They are about to be washed away soon. This is a matter of great urgency. I'm not going to tell you who I am, but let's hurry up and send in the troops. I have been in Drazhou for 2 days and 1 night. I didn't expect to be criticized for not updating the video or live streaming. I want to say one thing. After entering the disaster area, there was no electricity nor internet signal. The cell phone is just a toy here. Not to mention sending videos. I don't even have a chance to tell my family I'm safe. There are still a lot of people inside who have been without food and water, and there are also a lot of places where the water is as high as the streetlights. And a lot of people are still sending me messages of distress. I have limited ability, so I appeal to people from all walks of life to lend a hand if you can. It's really hard there.
现在上游开始泄洪了，这个水位大概
The water level has risen by about 30 centimeters since we got here this morning. We have 3 motorboats, 2 of them broke down. The key to one of the motorboats fell into the water and can't be found. So we are now trying to save ourselves. There is nothing we can do. We can't save more people. I'm so sorry. Also, my own family is being asked to evacuate, and I am deeply sorry that I, as my father's son, am not by his side with him at this time. I have tried my best and there is nothing I can do. Now, our self-help is becoming difficult. The current is strong and there are many undercurrents. The water inside the village is conservatively estimated to be about 2 to 3 meters deep. Friends of ours who have motorboats or speedboats, I hope you can come here to Yangli of Drazhou to do the active rescue. I thank you all on behalf of the people of Drazhou.
咱们有摩托艇或者有快艇的朋友们，我希望你们能来这儿涿州的永乐，来积极的救援。我替涿州人谢谢大家了。业务救援的。
All of us came from Henan, Luoyang. We are volunteers to come to the rescue at our own expense. Thank you. It's okay. Thank you. We've never seen this much water before. We risked our lives to get here. Here in Gaobeidian County, Hebei Province, there are only a few civilian rescue teams searching for trapped victims amid a sea of water. Is anyone there? Where are you? You have to yell louder. How many people are there? How do we get in?
你再喊声音大点儿！有几个人有人呢？ 怎么进去呀？
More and more people from Drazhou and other parts of the country are realizing that this terrible flood is not a natural disaster, but a man-made catastrophe. The water has entered the villages and victimized the people. This is not a natural disaster, but a man-made one. Look at this water.
看看这水。 It can't take that many people. Let elderly people and women go first.
Today is August 2nd. The whole area of Drazhou is without water and partly without electricity. Whether it's internal waterlogging or flood discharge, Drazhou has come to this state today. Relevant videos have already given the answer. The non-stop news of the various messages begging for help has let people know how desperate Drazhou is. If the people of Drazhou had already been taken into consideration and evacuation had been arranged in advance, there would have been no need to wait until now for such a difficult rescue operation. Of course, even if the flood relief was arranged in advance to evacuate the people, I believe that not many people would be willing to leave their homes voluntarily, letting their homes become the place where the flood rages, unless someone promised to compensate them for their losses incurred due to the flood discharge. None of us should pretend to be righteous. Once the human-led flood is about to inundate your home, in order to save my home, you may skip that nonsense of sacrificing a small family to save the big one. Not to mention that after your home is washed away, you have no food and drink, you have to wait in line for water, and a few online fools popped up to tell you that it's good to be alive and we should be grateful. Be grateful that someone is here to give us water when all the power and water is cut off, and be grateful that someone is here to rescue us when our loved ones are stranded in the water. In order to protect Beijing, Hebei province must be sacrificed. Are there still people in the village? Yes, a lot of people. Now you can only go by boat. You can only go by boat. You can't get there otherwise. The waves are too big. There's nothing to eat. People don't have anything to eat. Have you been trapped since that day? Since last night. It was fine the day before. Suddenly, it said that Hebei province must sacrifice itself to protect Beijing. The floodplain, a ditch 4 meters deep, is now leveled with water. But just when the people in these areas need rescue the most, the civilian rescue teams are notified and asked to evacuate. Some of the local governments used the excuse of protecting their safety because a second flood discharge was about to come. Families, we have been just informed that we must evacuate for now. Mafang village in Drazhou may receive a second flood discharge. Volunteers who are coming this way shouldn't come here now. Families should wait for the notification. Please share and repost this message. Now the upstream is discharging flood water. All boats are being evacuated. The boats are being evacuated one by one. It said that the flood will be discharged soon, so it may be dangerous. The boats must be moved out immediately. There are no clear specifics yet, except that there will be a flood discharge soon. We don't know how big the water will be. We must evacuate the area immediately. We are safely evacuating. It said that the water will be coming soon. We are in the high-tech development zone right now. Local people say that the real reason is that the officials are afraid that the truth about the disaster will get out, because there are bodies all over the place in one village alone. For example, in Drazhou, the water is 12 meters deep at the lowest point, and there are still a lot of victims who need to be rescued. Under such a desperate situation, more than 70 civilian rescue teams have started to evacuate from the area on August 3rd. Informed sources said that these rescue teams were forced to leave by the government. A Weibo group message showed that the Drazhou government didn't take any action and even slandered the rescue teams. It brought chills to the rescue team members. One civil rescue team said, "We have been here for 3 days and we have been working on our own with the local people. We managed to arrange food and shelter on our own. The government hasn't said anything to us, so be it. But the first public statement you made is to blame all of us rescue teams. It isn't right. We are volunteers. We don't get paid. We have risked our lives to rescue. What's your government doing? When the civil rescue team pulled out, it was the 4th day after the flood. Under the condition of no water and no food, Drazhou is likely to have many deaths in the next 1 or 2 days, and the government is most afraid that these tragic images would be made public. The official rescue crews came in late. They moved in. They are following the government's orders. They are under the government's control.
接到相关的通知，明天中午12点，所有
We have been informed that all rescue teams, including individual rescuers, will evacuate from Drazhou at 12 o'clock tomorrow, and then the Chinese People's Liberation Army, or PLA, will intervene. Tomorrow at noon, all rescue teams will be evacuated, and then the military will intervene.
现在特别乱套。
It's a mess. We came down to donate supplies. There are no relevant departments to contact. We relied on our own personal resources and friends to contact the local rescue teams, including out-of-town rescuers from Handan and Shijiazhuang. We gave them the supplies and then distributed them to the villages. No one from the relevant government departments was involved. We don't know the specifics, but tomorrow at 12 o'clock, all rescue teams will be pulled out and the army will intervene. The armed police have taken over. The armed public security forces have taken over. No one will be allowed to enter anymore. A local resident told overseas Chinese media, 500 people from the Hebei Armed Police headquarters entered Drazhou. They took over the rescue work completely. All the civilian rescue forces have been asked to leave. All the rescue supplies from the central government have just arrived in the area, whereas before that all the supplies came from the civilians. People have tried to raise supplies from all over the place in every possible way. It's a pure case of civilians performing self-rescue. Don't snatch it.
我这在这写了300块水，咱赔匀点。对，咱能匀，我们后边还有一个车给你们运呢。不是，大妈，我跟您说，一个人拿一个俩都行，我们都持续给你。
It's okay for one person to take 2. We'll keep bringing them to you, but you can't take this much by yourself. Right now, everyone is anxious. We'll still bring more stuff to you. We are here to help. We are private individuals. This is help from civilians. We are not your government. Our capacity is limited with so many people. We have bought out all the surrounding supermarkets.
You're accumulating virtues and doing a good deed. Thank you.
是，我们是来帮您的，您知道吗？您不要跟我嚷。
The situation on the front line in the disaster zone in Beijing is worse than we thought. Today, we contacted a civilian rescue organization in Mentogo. We bought some supplies from the supermarket and drove them to the assembly point. We are now short of water, ham sausages, bread, and stuff with a longer shelf life. After collecting the supplies donated by other people at the assembly point, we headed to Tongde Temple together. It was impossible to access the Tanwang Road. The flood had changed the appearance of many places, even the Songyu Village Road. I used to visit it often, but it's washed away now. A document from the local propaganda department that monitors public opinion has been disclosed online. It confirms the speculation that the government is extremely afraid of the real situation being leaked. The document reads, during the rescue process, some rescue teams illegally use mobile networks to maliciously broadcast the rescue process and surrounding images to the public, seriously damaging the image of our region. It also says that after being discovered, public opinion inspectors directly cut off their live broadcast network and arrested several offenders. It continues by saying that it cooperated with the aircraft management department to shoot down and destroy a number of unauthorized flying devices that were filming videos of the disaster area without permission. Here, officials as well as armed police forces and others are busy working together with the media, posing for various scenes of emergency rescue.
这是涿州市政府
This is what the Zhuozhou municipal government news said about the front line of armed police officers and soldiers fighting the flood. The front of the dike east of Zhuguang village, it's a visual estimate of 100 meters of sandbags lying flat at one layer in some places. And this is supposed to be the scene of the front line of flood fighting. This is what the Zhuozhou city government has vigorously advertised. Flood rescue front line, people's lives come first. We all work together to safeguard people's health. Do you have the confidence? Yes, thank you all. There are also reports from netizens who participated in the rescue. Donated supplies from all walks of life were piled up in a mountain at a vocational educational center in Zhuozhou, and officials even posed for photos in front of the supplies. However, government officials told the rescue team members that there were no supplies for the flood victims, and also prohibited local public servants from sharing the truth with the public. It has outraged the people.
The supplies across the Zhuozhou Vocational Education Center, I just asked. I asked, can I get the supplies with my ID card? They said, no, no, no. I really didn't expect this from the marine vehicle. On the 5th, they told me in person that this vehicle of supplies was for the disaster-stricken areas, for us. After they stayed for a while, they left. At that time, they already knew that the water had rising and the elderly women had been rescued by the civilian rescue team from Jiangsu and Shandong. This big brother helped rescue us all afternoon. And I told him, by looking at the person's clothes, is it wet or dry? You can tell whether they are helping rescuing people. Here, let's see off the rescue vehicle with relief supplies to its next destination. You will continue to appear on our Douyin videos. Don't come. Stop coming here. I don't care if you pose for your videos. The problem is, when we tried to rescue people this afternoon, and this group of people were blocking the way. They brought the victims and a few stray dogs to their side and poured water on themselves. I'm telling you, we don't need people like you to pose in the disaster area.
Some water conservancy professionals told overseas Chinese media that what the outside world sees is only a small part of the tragedy of this great flood. Many flooded areas can't get their news out. There are worse places than Zhuozhou. For example, certain areas in Baoding, Shijiazhuang, Anyang, and Qingtai of Hebei province are even more devastated than Zhuozhou. But because the information is controlled, the outside world can't see what has happened to them. Residents on both sides of Daxing River, plus residents at the flood zone located at the junction of the Wan'an County and the Bazhou City, more than 100,000 people, residents on both sides of the river, were all inundated by floodwaters from the upstream rivers. Their homes are soaked in water, factories submerged, and merchandise destroyed. No one is paying attention to the situation. There isn't a single penny worth of relief supplies, nor are there any rescue crews. No one is paying any attention. Then, the government falsified news reports, making people angry and storming government buildings. Whether this is a case of moral degradation, a loss of humanity, we can't tell, and we don't dare to say. I only speak for myself. I am concerned about the victims in Bazhou and Wan'an County, the victims of the flood zone. They are devastated by the disaster. I hope that everyone will show their care and pay more attention to the situation on this side of the world and repost this video so that more people can know about the devastation we are in. There was also a strange phenomena this year. For the previous disaster in Henan, the Zhengzhou floods, people donated more than 10 billion yuan. That is more than 1.4 billion US dollars. This year, no one donated. Why? According to the news reports, more than $10 billion in Henan has been embezzled. It's not that people don't care, it's not that people don't donate, it's that trust has been broken and the real disaster relief money can't reach the victims. I hope you will share and like my video. Thank you all.
别抢了！